Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I just wanted to make this video today. This is a cine film and film celluloid identification video that I wanted to make today, just to try and clear up some questions that we get and make it more straightforward and help you in respect of identifying films that you may have found in your collection or loved one's collection while sorting through and thinking, what are these, and I want to get them, I'd like to get them transferred. So I wanted to make this video today. I've got a range of different types of celluloid films spanning the years. Hopefully you'll find this informative and be able to identify a lot more clearly what you have in your collection. So this video is for the Cine Film Factory, and be sure to like, subscribe, and any relevant links to anything that I talk about in this video will be put in the description down below of this video here. So I want to kick things off, and you'll probably be able to identify with these hopefully. This is a format of film called standard regular 8 film. Now this film is a pre-1970s film, ran from about the period of around the 1950s up until the 1970s, when the introduction of the latest format of Super 8 came out. So I wanted to just run through this in a chronological pattern for you, so give you an understanding. So you may well identify with these Kodak yellow packets here, and some of them might be loose. So these are what we call standard regular 8 film. This is a 50-foot quantity of film, 50-foot capacity on this reel, and this runs, we would calculate this at 4,000 frames. That's scanning frames. So each one of these smaller reels contains 4,000 individual images that make up the film, and that's how we work our totals out for you when we come to do your works order invoice on 4,000 frames on this one. So this is a standard regular 8 50-foot film on a 3-inch reel. One thing to note on here, whilst it's the same size, all these formats have the same sizes of the newer Super 8, but the difference is the sprocket holes on the side of the film is a different combination to each other. And the other thing you'll notice is the central sprocket hole on the standard regular 8 film is smaller than the Super 8. And when I come onto the Super 8, I'll show that to you as well. So this is a 3-inch, 50-foot, 4,000 frame film. So that's that size for you. Then we move on. You may well have slightly larger reels in your collection, and that is this one here, and this is what we call a 5-inch 200-foot standard regular 8 film. And this again is the much loved and popular from back in the day, 1950s to 1970s, celluloid standard regular 8 film. This one actually, interestingly, whilst the actual film on here is standard regular 8, is actually on a Super 8 reel. And this one gives us 16,000 digital frames that we would scan to. So difference 4,000 frames on the small one, 16,000 frames on the 5-inch 200-foot. So 16,000 individual images that make up the 5-inch 200-foot film. So I'll pop that one there. Then we move upwards even more, and this is what we call, and these come in different size cases and packets. So this one is what we call a 7-inch 400-foot reel of film. This one's full up to capacity. If you also look between the 5-inch and the 7-inch, you may well notice some counter markers, and that will show you in feet. It will count all the way up from 50 to 400, and it will show you the lip of the film, about how much quantity of film you've got on there. So this is a 7-inch 400-foot standard regular 8 film, frame capacity on here, digital frames that we scan off 32,000 frames. So a lot of images in there. Runtime on this one, anywhere between 25 to 30, around about 30 minutes of runtime. And this was an amalgamation of the smaller 3-inch 50-foot or the larger 200-foot reels that you may well have fond memories of a loved one painstakingly splicing the segments of film together back in the day. And this obviously gives us a longer run time, so the person who was projecting the film could sit down and enjoy a longer run time to enjoy with the family the footage when the projection back in the day, rather than having to change these over every 3 to 4 minutes, because these only have a run time of 3 to 4 minutes. So that's the big boy, the 7-inch 400-foot film. Then we move on to, you may well have some of these in your collection, and this is quite a common question that we get. We get photos sent through here to the studio with these little jobbies. So these are actually unprocessed standard regular 8 films here. So if you've got any of these in your collection, they wouldn't have been used. There'll be nothing on them, because what would have happened is these would have gone into the said camera back in the day, and then the shooting would have taken place. These are actually 25 foot, these ones, but they don't contain any images. They haven't been used. So these have been unprocessed. But when they would have been used back in the day, they would have been sent off to Kodak, Hemel Hempstead, when they used to be there, and they would then process the film. The sprocket holes are also the standard regular 8, and they would have been processed. This would have been split straight down the middle of a special cutting machine, joined together, and then that would have given us the 50 foot, and then you would have been sent the reel back, processed, ready to project, and it would have come back like this. So from this unrecorded to this that has been recorded. So that clears that one up there. We've been looking through our stores of film to get all this information together for you. Found these. These were original standard 8mm splicing strips, and these would have been used in a tape splicer, and that it's that type of thing that would have been used to join multiples of these smaller ones up onto these larger reels. So then we move swiftly on, and we'll move to the 1970s. 1970s to the 1980s brought a new evolution of technology, which was Super 8. A range of different cameras came out, recording of audio capability, sound projectors. It was the evolution of technology, and this was the latest and greatest format to come out. Some people stuck with the standard regular 8, others adopted the Super 8 format, and you may well have these type of things. Black reels, Kodachrome 2 boxes, if you can see that clearly in there. So these are the same as the standard regular 8 ones, and these are the 3-inch 50-foot reels, again containing approximately 4,000 digital frames when scanned. So that gives you an identification on those. The sprocket hole, I don't know, it's probably not the best example, that one. Let's have a look at this one. Right, so we've got the leader here. So the white bits on the beginning of all the films, doesn't matter on the size, are what we call leaders. And if you're able to see on there, the sprocket holing on there, which helps us identify which gauge of film that we have for transfer. So let's pop that away into there. Now another thing, again with the 3-inch 50-foot, you also, they came in on the Super 8s and the standard regular 8s. Sometimes they came back in these packets that we've got here. So hopefully that clears that up and provides you some information. So 3-inch, 50-foot, 4,000 frames, Super 8 film. Again, same as the standard regular 8, we could have the larger reel. Again, this has got its leader on it. So this is a 5-inch reel containing capacity of up to 200 foot of film. And this has the gauge counters on the side of this reel again, which count in feet and meters, but we work in feet, and this will count up to 200 feet. It's a great example, this one, because you can see the sprocket holes are very different to the standard regular 8 film. They're a bit more of a wider depth on them. So that is the 5-inch 200 foot 16,000 frame Super 8 film. Then we come up on the Super 8 film, and we have the big 7-inch 400 foot film. This is quite interesting, this one, because it's got the counters on the side, but I can feel, I mean, I've been handling film now for over 20 years, so I can feel film straight away, pretty much know the capacity on the reels. But this one, somebody's been greedy with their amount of film that they've crammed onto this reel. This one's literally up to the lip. It should just be down on the inside up to the counter. So this is running about 450 feet. And so this is way above the 32,000 frame that a standard 400 foot film would hold. Again, it's got the counters on the feet on the side, and this is a 7-inch 400 foot capacity Super 8 reel. Also, for rule of thumb, just so you know, 8 of these small 3-inch 50 foot reels fit onto the 7-inch 400 foot reel, and on the 5-inch reel that I showed you before this one, this has a capacity of 4 of the 3-inch 50 foot reels, so they would be spliced up onto the larger reels again to give that longer run time. Got some more splicing tape here from our stores. This is a Super 8 splicing tape, so it's set up for the format of Super 8 that people would have used on a tape splicer back in the day. Then we come on to, you may well have found some of these in the collection. So this is no good to us, no good to you. This is unprocessed, so unused Super 8 cartridges. So if you find any of these in the boxes with your films, set those aside, because they chances are they haven't been used. And if they have been used, there is only one processing place that we would recommend, and they're out in Canada. I believe they're Film Rescue International, and they would be able to have a look and be able to tell you if the film is even worth visiting, because a lot of them expire, go out of date, and chances are they don't have the images that were originally recorded. So inside this box would be one of these, and it would have been that would clip into the camera back in the day, and then the shooting would take place on the Super 8 format. Just out of interest, this has a process date of 1972, so it goes to show you how long ago that was, and chances of getting anything off there would be astonishing, really. So then we move on to these big ones. So these are what we call the 16mm format film. This has been around for a long span of time, guys, the 16mm film. It's heavily regarded in the industry as a professional grade film because of the quality that it produced. And this is what we may well have something like this. Generally it'll be like a pre-recorded title. Very expensive film format to record on back in the day. So this is much more quality. This is what we call a 16mm film, and this is double the width, of course, of the 8mm, which means the frame size, the 16mm square frame size, would hold a lot more detail in it than the standard home user using the 8mm film. And this is a big reel. More often than not, as well, with the 16mm films, if you have any of these in your collection, you may well notice that they have a smell about them now. This one's starting to get a bit of a sense of very, very strong smell. It's like, we call it a vinegar smell in the industry. That's not a good thing, because it is a sign of oxidization that's starting to take place. But I think we'll leave that, or we may well have covered that in one of our previous videos about the 16mm project that we took on that was heavily oxidized and had the vinegaring to it. So that's a 16mm. That's a big reel, 16mm. That's got 1,000. What's that one got on it? Yeah, 400 meters running on that one. Then we have 16mm on a slightly smaller reel. Again, this is a 7-inch reel on here of 16mm. Again, it has a capacity of 400 feet. That shows you double sprocket hold, this one. Not all 16mm were double sprocket hold. The silent ones were. So if you've got top and bottom sprocket holes running, it's going to be a silent film. If you have just sprocket holes running on one edge of the film and then a solid brown line on the opposing edge of the film, then that possibly is containing an optical or a magnetic soundtrack to accompany the film. So hopefully that clears that one up. Then we move on to the fourth variety that I'd like to talk about today. Personally, it's my favourite type of film format. Could be misidentified as an 8mm because it's not a lot more width. It's only got 1.5 more millimeters more width than the 8mm. However, it does have a clear identifier that separates it from being 8mm. And this is what we call 9.5mm film. It's around a 1920s to 1940s film, very, very early. Don't be put off by the age. We have the skills, techniques and system here to pull that information off of these reels. Even water damaged ones, we've been able to retrieve data. But the interesting thing that identifies the 9.5mm film apart, and the leader shows it up really well, hopefully it comes up on the camera, and the identifiable part here is the centre sprocket hole. The classic centre sprocket hole identifies this film as a 9.5mm film, very early film, again with its leader. And the other identifiable point on the side of the reel here, you'll notice 3 holes on the side of the reel, and it's those 3 holes on the side that allow the film to be clipped onto the loading arm of the projector back in the day, hold the film while it gets projected. So that's the 9.5. Don't see too many 9.5mm films on these small 3-inch reels, mind. And they came on the 5-inch, which we have here for you to see. Obviously you can see very clearly the reel isn't full of film, but it is a 9.5 because it has a central sprocket hole and the 3 guide pilot holes on the side to mount the film reel there. And then more classically, we have the larger 9.5mm film on the 7-inch 400 foot. Again, this one isn't up to capacity. We can see that. This has got a good representation of the counters on the side of these reels. So hopefully guys, this video has been informative for you, and you'll all be pros now when it comes to helping you identify the gauge and the format of film that we have here and you have in your collection. Of course, we're here to help. We're always happy to help. There's never a silly question, so never be afraid to ask. But I feel it is really, really important to make these videos so that you have an understanding and you'll be clear when we talk about, when you come to us, and then we talk about, obviously, the film formats and the sizes of reel, and it'll resonate with you and you'll go, right, yeah, so I've got either the standard 8, the super 8, the 16mm or the 9.5mm. So yeah, as I say, hopefully you found this video informative today, and as I say, any questions, feel free to reach out to us with never a silly question. We're here to help and guide you with all this information. Another thing I just want to, before I sign off on this video, I just want to just touch on, let's say for example you've got a collection of films that come in that you want to get transferred. Let's say you've got 30 films. All the films we work on, restoration and conditioning, which I've done a previous vlog on previously, so hopefully that will help you with more about how we prepare the films before the scanning process takes place. But what we do is we index every single film that we work on independently, and the same index reference point 001, 002 is marked on the thumbnail, on your digital thumbnail on your USB stick. And of course, if you want the original films back, you get those back. So if there's any original writing on any packets or any of these cartridges, then you'll be able to look at what you've got on your screen that we've created for you, and then be able to have a look at the real. If there's anything Whitley 1962, then that will obviously converse with the digital video file that you've got on the on your screen. So it's an over and out from me. It's a series of vlogs that I'm going to do going forward for 2024, and information vlogs, and hopefully you find it helpful to you. So be sure to like, subscribe, click any links that we put into the description that will help you further, and we look forward to hearing from you soon here at the Cine Film Factory. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.